Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard the tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back legally on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. Well, this new survey is right in my wheelhouse. People were asked what future technology from movies and TV shows they'd most like to have in their lives.
The Rocky robot from Rocky 4, right?
That's that's in the top 6 of this, yeah. You're on the right track, Steve. There are some artificial companions that people would like to have, but Rocky's robot, not the one.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't think that was going to make the list.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, number 1 is from the MCU. That should give a little bit of a clue. Not a big clue, but a little bit of a clue to Vicky and Rev.
How about the Infinity Gauntlet?
Yeah, that's what everybody wants, the Infinity Gauntlet, because people want to be able to snap their fingers and get rid of half the population.
I do. And I was going to say, there's probably a good number of people that do want to do that. If you read social media, there are some angry people out there.
Yeah.
We work with one of them.
Yeah, we do.
Ooh, Captain America's shield.
Dude, Captain America's shield.
I don't know how futuristic that really is, but it's pretty badass.
What would you do with that, Steve?
Throw it at people.
Okay,
of course you would. All right, maybe I'll go in the woods and throw it at trees.
Okay, I mean, yeah, because Rev's snapping his fingers, getting rid of half of us. You're throwing your shield at people. This world's not going to be a good place once you two have your futuristic tech.
No, honestly, I'd probably just mount it on the wall. Maybe.
Pardon me? Oh, on the wall. Okay.
And I'd pull it out during the 4th of July. Excuse me. And just walk around and be like, yeah, America.
Is it bad that I really want to make a giant plate of nachos in it?
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with that.
Just flip it around.
At all. Make a pizza on it.
Vicky, yours is at least the most friendly thing that a person would do with all this stuff so far. So I'm going to take yours, Vic. Plus, we might get fed some tasty nachos.
Right.
The number one thing that people want is the all-knowing AI assistant like Jarvis from Iron Man, who was voiced by Paul Bettany, who then later on became the Vision.
I'm surprised they didn't ask for the Iron Man suit because it kind of comes together. You get both the suit and the AI.
I'm thinking that maybe people, as I look down this list, people are probably thinking about stuff they feel like can happen.
Kind of practical.
Yeah.
As futuristic as it is, but it's like, yeah, I can see, all right, I'm not going to get a suit that I can fly around in.
Yeah. Though I would love to see Vicky in an Iron Man suit because it would be like mini Iron Man.
Yes, that'd be so great.
That would be pretty awesome. Yeah.
I would crash into everything. I'm not coordinated. That would be bad.
Oh, that would even be funny. Or just see mini Iron Man just slamming into stuff. That would be great.
You should probably just throw it in the closet because you couldn't figure out how to get off the ground.
Right.
All right.
It's like, screw it. I'm just going to hang clothes on it.
Right.
The number 2 thing, 2 of these things on this list of the top 6 things that people said they wanted from futuristic tech, from movies and TV, are from Back to the Future 2. Which is really wild that actually stuff in that movie, people were like, yeah, I'd like to have that.
The sneakers?
The self-lacing sneakers? Yeah,
but then they just kind of made those.
Kind of, yeah.
And was that 1 or 2?
That was 2.
That was 2, okay.
It has to be the hoverboard.
Yeah, right?
Hoverboard. Good answer.
Yeah, I would. Those are the things I remember from Back to the Future 2. Sorry, but you're... I remember both those things from Back to the Future 2, and the things that they mentioned, I'm kind of like, I don't remember these things. Do you guys remember the windows? that show different scenery?
Barely.
I remember that from Total Recall with Schwarzenegger, where he was able to watch the news and he flicked on a nice little scene on the wall of his apartment. I remember it from that.
And then I started thinking about, was it Minority Report or Vanilla Sky? I can't remember which Tom Cruise film, where they walk into a room and the artwork changes based on the mood or whatever, or like they'd have like advertising on things. And
I can't remember that.
That was
either.
Minority Report,
Okay.
because they scanned your eyeballs.
Yeah, that was.
So that's how they do that.
That's right.
See, from Minority Report, the thing I would want would be the 6-stick, which is the thing they poked people with. The cops did, so they immediately puked.
I forgot about that.
I've never forgotten about that.
Oh, that'd
That's
be
a
fun
great
at
weapon.
parties.
That'd be great.
I mean, it is a great way to be able to subdue whatever your attacker without really hurting them so much. They just get all vomity. Of course, you got to get away from that because you all of a sudden you get sick all over you from the stick, and that ain't right.
Vicky just showed me the scene from Back to the Future with the different scenery,
Yeah,
and I completely forgot all about
I don't know that scene either.
I
Vicky
need to
showed
watch
me
this
too.
movie. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I have no clue what the heck that is.
And
it's pretty cool.
And you can do that now. You just stick a projector on your wall, and you would just have that.
Right.
That's true. Yeah, and just get like some the old school blinds that you just pull down.
That'd be so funny. Why do you have blinds against your wall? Well, when I want to go see anything.
I mean, at that point, your plasma TV can do that.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, for instance, I mean, if you let Comcast sit for a little bit, they have beautiful scenery that shows up on the screensaver.
Okay, I've got a dumb one, and I know it'll never happen. But I mean, we're talking about futuristic tech. I want a car that can fly, that can be folded into a briefcase.
Nice. Steve, you must be like Nostradamus. As a matter of fact, one of the things on this list, not the car that turns into a briefcase, but there is something from the Jetsons that is on this list.
Rosie.
Yeah, I want Rosie the robot. Yeah.
Okay.
She's pretty awesome.
There is something like Rosie on this list, but it's not from the Jetsons. It's from a couple of another movie that somebody wants somebody who is a lot rosier than Rosie.
Jane,
you know what I mean?
his wife.
Okay, well, she's not tech, Steve. She was a real cartoon person.
A real cartoon person.
But I'm not lying to you. Jane, his wife, I would definitely be like, okay, George, you're a lucky man to go home to Jane, his wife.
I'm guessing the robots from Westworld.
Not a bad call, except those robots, it doesn't end well, Vicky. I don't want any of those robots on Westworld.
But I mean, they were pretty sexy before they went crazy.
Yeah, Maeve was fantastic, but then, you know what? It doesn't end well with Maeve.
What the hell does that have to do with the Jetsons?
Well,
Nothing
he
at
said
all.
something like kind of robotic and from a different movie.
Oh, okay.
And like rosier than Rosie, so
Yeah.
I'm like, it's got to be the sex robots.
Vicky's right. I mean, I do have a Jetsons related.
What episode was that? I know Elmo probably went through puberty at some point, but geez.
Yeah,
I missed that episode.
Elmo or Elroy?
It's Elroy.
Yeah,
that's
Elroy.
it.
Elroy.
Who did I say? Elmo?
Elmo.
Yeah, you did. Well, you can tell somebody has a small child in his house.
Yeah, didn't they tickle Elroy?
I don't think so.
No,
Elroy.
different show.
Elroy. All right. So yeah, Vicky was right. I did sort of go all over the road with a clue, but let's get back to the Jetsons. For me, this would be out of Star Trek, but the Jetsons as well. The Foodomatic machine from the Jetsons that can make any type of food by just pressing a few buttons.
Okay, that would be pretty awesome.
And for us Star Trek fans, replicators do the same thing, and I would love those.
But couldn't the replicators replicate anything? You can do like clothes and stuff too.
Yeah, eventually you're absolutely right, Rev. It used to just be food in the old G show, and then all of a sudden, you could make anything. You could make engine parts, you could make weapons, you could really do anything with the replicator.
See, now that's badass.
But wasn't it called? It was called the Foodaraka Cycle. I think in the Jetsons. If I remember.
It wasn't the Foodomatic?
I think it was called the Foodaraka Cycle.
Yeah, you know something, I have no clue because I can't remember.
A touch of the button, it makes and disposes any meal that a person wants.
Well, how did
that's
you know
pretty
that?
nice.
Yeah, the Foodaraka cycle. Wow.
I remember from Lost in Space, and this is, you talk about so dated. Here you've got these bunch of adventurers going out into space, and they're all supposed to, you think by the time that they were able to travel to different planets, that men and women would basically, be as smart as each other and do whatever jobs need to be done. But it was always left to Maureen to have to do the laundry or the space laundry, and she would just take all her clothes, throw it into this box, the lights would flash a little bit, and then she'd open it up, and they'd all be folded and clean.
Dude, you remember when we went to
I wanted one of those.
we went a couple years ago, BJ and I went to CES in Vegas for like the Consumer Electronics Show. And I remember when we were looking at what are the things that we can look forward to seeing. And one of the things that was being talked about was a self-folding laundry set.
Yes.
And you and I, we made it a point to go to that exhibit, and it was such a letdown.
It really was.
It wasn't nearly as cool as we thought. It was clunky, and it really didn't do what you thought it did.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, because again, I was thinking that Lost in Space machine has come to life.
Right. I was like, can we
no.
get one? What do we have to do to make this happen?
Steve and I both, you can tell Steve and I both were on laundry duty at the time, and we were like, this would be great.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as awesome as we hoped, though.
No, not at all. Now, the last two on this top 6 list involve, well, you and getting some companionship one way or the other. Some people would love to have a voice assistant who also has a personality that you might fall in love with, like in Her, which I believe ScarJo was the voice of Her, if I'm not mistaken.
I've never seen the movie. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's slow. It's got Joaquin Phoenix, but it's slow, but it's good. And yeah, you know what? You do definitely fall in love with that character if you're a weirdo like me, and like Joaquin Phoenix.
Well, one person brought up a point. He's talking about that. Then what about the O-gun from Orgasmo? Wow.
Well, there is that.
The Orgasmorator. It was a ray gun that forces orgasm upon whomever it was fired at.
And I don't know how many of you saw. Yeah, I know that. Though, either you make them sick with a sick stick, or you do something with a stick to make them feel another way.
I mean, you could have a lot of fun with that and put people in very awkward situations.
Oh yeah, I was recently watching a show. You remember in Doom Patrol, Vicky, that dude that could make everybody get to that place? Yeah. And it's great to see people just go, wait, don't be doing that because I'm going to go there, and like an entire group of people going there.
Yeah, like you're like some random, like you're waiting in line at like a gas station, and you just go, and all of a sudden the person in front of you is like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, with everyone will leave the line, and then you're first.
Exactly.
Yeah,
brilliant.
You know, and for some of us, you're just like, no, I'm not. No, I have to. No, now I got to change. That's not cool.
Now I've got to change.
Finally, I don't know how many of you saw Blade Runner 2049, but there was a great holographic companion named Joy. And boy, everybody, yeah, I remember Joy. She was like, that would be kind of cool to have that if you are a lonely person. Joy she was fantastic. She always said the right thing. She was nice to you. You know, I mean, you really couldn't super interact with her, but, I remember John Rappaport. Is that his name? No,
Michael Rappaport.
Anthony Michael Rappaport. Thank you. It was an Arnold movie where he actually did have a companion, and he had stuff he attached to himself, and Arnold walked in on him while he was getting busy with himself with this hologram. So I was like, yeah, I could see people wanting that kind of thing.
The most popular one on our text line, a lot of people have been suggesting this one. It goes right in line with you, BJ, the holodeck from Star Trek, sorry.
Whoa, yeah.
The holodeck would be pretty wild.
What is the holodeck?
Basically, it is a giant room that makes you believe you're anywhere, and it basically takes matter and will create any scene you want, and you think you're climbing mountains, you think you're going places, any place you want to be, the holodeck can recreate it.
Kind of like a virtual reality thing?
It's totally, a super virtual reality without the glasses. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Steve. It's virtual reality without the glasses. And you're actually touching stuff. Like you can feel you can feel rock, and you can feel dirt, and I mean, you know, not to get too geeky on it, but we always wondered, like, okay, they're like walking miles. How could they be walking miles without running into the wall at some point?
Yeah, the floor's a treadmill. Come on.
Oh, okay, fine. There you go.
There you go. So then, I mean, could you like visit like a brothel? And
yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Forget about it.
As a matter of fact, on Deep Space Nine, the character Quark, basically, they were holographic brothels. That's what he had in his bar.
Oh, that's why they called that episode Deep 6-9. Now I understand.
That's what it was, yeah.
And the Orville, which was Seth MacFarlane's version of Star Trek, basically, they have one where there is a group of Mocklins just doing dirty things. It was pretty awkward because it's an all-male species and they look like these giant kind of monsters. Yeah, it gets weird.
All right, then my question is, like, if you get it, if you do, you know, you're bumping uglies in the holodeck. Are you actually doing it with somebody, or is it just like a virtual reality fake thing? Like, could you get the syphilis from someone, or is it like, or is it safe?
They are 3D holographic characters, so you can touch them and feel them, and that was kind of one of the things in the episode where this Quark guy was creating images of real life people that were on the station, because people said, I would really like to bang the second officer. Can you make an image of her? Mm-hmm. And she found out, and of course went ape-ass, like, and you know, how can you be having this brothel version of me that people are railing? And it's you can touch them, feel them, and you can program personality into them, at least within the Star Star Trek holodeck world.
But could you like impregnate them or get, you know what I mean?
Well, they have safety, so like you can fight people. But the bullets don't hurt you, but the bullets, will hurt them. So they have so I imagine the safety program could keep you from impregnating anybody if you really wanted that.
I mean, these are the questions we need to know.
You need to know, Steve. I know.
Weird line of questioning.
Nobody ever asked that on Star Trek, on any of the Deep Six, Deep Space, nothing. Nobody ever said, "Hey, Quark, I'm not going to impregnate anybody in there, am I?
Do I have to wrap this rascal or not? What's going on here?"
Yeah,
there's probably some fan fiction out there, Steve, that answers that question in ways you don't want to know. But
no, you really don't.
I'm going to steer away from that Google search.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Though you made me think of Star Trek in a completely different way. Thank you, sir.
Right.
We got a guy that did something that might make him the dumbest criminal of all time, and I'll tell you why at 8:17 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
New on Curiosity Stream. Deformed trees, mutated wildlife, and no humans for miles. 10 years after the disaster at Fukushima, see what this irradiated ecosystem can teach us about nuclear fallout on Radioactive Forest. Plus, looking for the most diverse marine life on the planet? Dive into the Coral Triangle and experience a frenzy of wildlife you've got to see to believe on nature's greatest secret. It's all on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. There's a 30-year-old guy. His name is James. He's from Michigan. And back on Halloween, well, he decided to trick rather than treat and broke into a house back on Halloween. And apparently used his own debit card to force open the lock and then accidentally left his debit card behind.
Oh, man.
Wow. His name's right on there, so cops were like, well, I wonder, this door was jimmied open by, wow, there's a credit. Oh, look at this.
Of all things to use, I'm not saying like you should use some, you shouldn't be breaking into someone's house in the first place, but why would you use something with your proper identification on it?
Well, when you're looking for drugs or stuff, you know what I mean, Steve. When you're needing a fix, which I always suspect a lot of these break-ins are about, you just need to steal something that you can sell to get your drug money.
That's why we should be able to use our debit cards to buy drugs illegally.
Yeah,
and then you don't have to worry about this.
You cut out the middleman instead of having to use it to break into the house.
Exactly.
I'm with you on this one. Well, a warrant was finally issued for him earlier this month, even though it happened back on Halloween. Which I don't understand why. Why does it take so long? You got the guy's debit card, right? Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me either.
Yeah.
And also, if I'm him, I'm like, where the hell's my debit card? Like, I only got Thai food the other day, drove off, it was in Bonnie Lake, and by the time I was almost home and I realized I didn't get my credit card back. So I had to turn around.
Oh!
Now, granted, I wasn't breaking into anybody's home. I was just trying to enjoy some delicious chicken yakisoba, but it's kind of the same thing, right?
It's very much the same thing. I mean, but sometimes you feel like you're on the run, I mean, in both situations.
I was on the run to get back home so it wouldn't be cold.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so they finally did issue a warrant for this dude. Cops tracked him down. He was, easy to find. Maybe this is why they didn't really waste a whole lot of time in getting this warrant out soon, because he was already in jail. So they was like, you know what? He's already behind bars. Different charges that weren't related to this. So while you're in jail, they said, oh, by the way, we got you for that second-degree home invasion, too, there, Skippy.
That's like insult to injury. It's like, yay, you're staying in there longer, just to let you know. Oh, but we found your credit card. Good news.
Damn, dude. I mean, how about they just go, don't bother. He's probably in jail somewhere. We'll figure it out. We know this idiot.
I feel like we need like a wing in jail, or like they need to like just put all the idiots together. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's something to be said about like, okay, we got the criminals that are, these are some super dangerous criminals, but then we also got the morons.
Yeah.
I feel like the morons should just get to do moron things together.
Yeah, the moron penitentiary. I like this.
Right.
And then if maybe we have a reality show. How cool would that be? Just watch them do stupid things over and over again.
Right. Challenge them to do things that require, minimal intelligence and see if they can pull it off.
Yeah. I like this idea. Essentially, Steve, since we're bringing up just this reality show, I'm wondering, do you have any interest in the Real World reunion show from the first cast that's going to be happening soon?
I had no idea until this very moment, and I'm 100% in. I would love to see what's happening with those guys. Who was the grunge rocker guy? What was his name? There was oh man.
Oh, I know. I can't remember. I just remember I think was that the crew that lost somebody due to AIDS? Was that the Real World?
Third season in San Francisco.
Was that Pedro Zamora?
What? Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Damn,
it. Yeah.
dude.
Why do I remember these names?
Wow.
I was a big Real World fan. Kevin was on the original season.
Yes. And the way they're selling it on MTV is like it's still going to have drama. Like there are people still going to be living together that after 20 years still can't get along.
Well, what's the drama? They accidentally crap their pants and didn't have their diapers on? I mean,
Steve, you're not going to like this.
Oh, I was a fan of Julie.
Steve, hold on a second.
What?
You're not going to like the fact they're your age. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're like your and Rev's age.
I feel like they're older. I could be wrong.
I think you may be.
They were adults and I was in high school. Not a big difference, but there was a little bit of a difference.
Okay, so they might have 5 to 6 years on you because I think they were college age, weren't they?
Yeah, 19 to late 20s.
And it was in 92.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 92 I was in high school.
Okay, so it's not that far off.
No, I know. I'm not saying it's a huge difference, but...
Yeah, because I was older than them. I always felt like, man, should I be watching this show? Because I think I might have been in my 30s when I was watching the first Real World. And, they're doing a big anniversary show.
Yeah, it looks like the oldest person at the time was Kevin, and he was 26. So that was what, it came out, 92? So,
yeah. Math is hard.
Yeah, too hard for me.
Yeah, some of them on their Wikipedia page doesn't say when they were born.
Yeah,
they're trying to keep it quiet. Eric Nies was like, he was not big star, but he ended up doing stuff. Yeah, he's 49 now, so it's not much of a big difference. But yeah,
and I think the oldest dude is like in his 50s, if I'm doing my math right, Rev. So it's wild to see if they still can't get along. Like it is like watching a bunch of old dudes, which is really weird. But apparently, MTV is, who knows how real it's going to be as opposed to scripted, but they're going to be like, hey, this is going to be, lots of drama.
If I remember correctly, wasn't Becky like the smoke show, like the dancer?
I think you're right.
And there was Andre was the rocker.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he still kind of looks like, he looks like an old rocker now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like this could be the Real World. I'm too old for this S should be like the title of it. Like if someone starts drama, I'm going to look and be like, guys, I'm almost 50. Like, what are we doing? I'm too old for this.
My wife and I both, because we were there back in the day, so we probably will watch this at some point. I think that we'll make this some appointment television for the both of us, because that was a show we watched together, because it was revolutionary, obviously, at the time. And it was like the Truman Show. It was real life Truman Show.
And this is going to make you feel old, but this is, obviously, there's people that are in a younger demo that still like the Real World, but back in the day, they didn't want them to hook up and have any kind of sexual stuff. That was super frowned upon. I think a couple of them on that season ended up having a little bit of a fling, but they kept that off the cameras. That was not a focal point of the show. No, this show is not about hooking up. This show is about a social experiment. They really wanted it to not have that kind of a vibe.
Yeah, 1992, we were still pretty puritanical compared to the way we are now when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, give it a couple of seasons later and they're like, bang, please, bang as much as possible. We want you guys naked in hot tubs doing each other.
Yeah.
Which was probably around the worst time for me to get into it. Because I remember I think the only season I ever saw was Chicago. And that was when 2002 was the 11th season at that point. And I was in middle school watching it thinking it was the coolest thing ever.
Wow. Dude, I was obsessed with the first season. When that new episodes dropped, I was all about, and we'd all talk about it. It was kind of a fun thing. It got conversations going too, because they did tackle some pretty heavy stuff.
And BJ or Steve, with you with that, it was the second season.
Was that Chicago?
No, that one was L.A., but they just had it Real World California at the time. But that was the one with the country singer and the dude who got kicked out. And
was Puck in that one?
No, Puck was in the San Francisco one with Pedro.
Right.
Yeah,
Puck and Pedro. That's right.
Yeah, which I loved because they introduced him by rolling down. He had one of those carts that you would roll down like a soapbox derby thing, but he called it the snot rocket because he would always blow snot out his nose.
Yeah, Puck was a pain in the ass.
He was gross.
Yeah, Puck was, yeah. And now you wonder, knowing how certain things were done, you wonder if they totally just overblew that character and just made Puck almost like, you wonder if he was anything really like that. I don't know. Now, Steve, you were involved with the Real World because they I forget what season, but they interned on your station, The End, back in the day.
That was pretty awesome. That had to have been like 98-ish, I think. And I remember because I just got hired to work at The End, and I was already like riding high. I'm like, this is my dream job. I'm working at the station I wanted to work at when I moved out here. Like everything was kind of falling into place, and it was like, I'm still struggling. I wasn't like I was making peanuts, but I was like, this is it. I hit Mecca. And then they had a big company meeting, and they're like, okay, we have a very important meeting, and they pull us in like, we have very exciting news. The Real World is going to be coming to Seattle. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Why are we having a meeting about that? And then they're like, and they're going to be working here. And I was like, mind blown. This is the coolest thing ever. It was so much fun, man. I know like Seattle hated them. Like there was like so much protest. There were people making like shirts that said the Seattle thinks the Real World sucks.
Whoa.
They'd go do events and people would try and like sabotage the taping. It was like how dare these out of towners come to our city and try and take over. And man, it was a lot of fun. They were good kids. I mean, they weren't like, they were just, they were kind of put in a weird spot, and all of a sudden like a city hated them, and they were like, it was very awkward.
That is awkward because Seattle's somewhat, the Real World was a really popular show for younger, cooler people. You'd think that would be a feather in your cap to have it come to your town. But I'm surprised.
It was like a hipster type of a thing. It was cool to hate them because they're part of this corporate thing and TV. And like, I know like The Stranger was all about like crapping all over them. Like that was the weekly magazine at the time. I don't know how active they are anymore. I haven't seen a newspaper anywhere anymore. But that was like the thing. That was the cool thing to do, was to be a jerk to the cast. And it was like, there's a bunch of kids given an opportunity to do something cool and get out of their comfort zone, and everyone's just piling on them.
And a revolutionary show, really. I am surprised. Again, there are things that happen in this city sometimes I don't understand. Like you said, sometimes this city sometimes thinks, oh, we're too cool for everything. Or either there's a big chip on their shoulder and this city doesn't, I don't know, maybe if they were Real World, the number one, if they were the first choice. But, how many seasons did it take for you to get to us? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but man, they had the Real World house was on the pier and got to go to that. That was like, as a fan of the show, and all of a sudden now you're getting to go to the actual place and see it in person. It was pretty impressive in person. Like what it showed on TV was pretty accurate. It was a cool spot. But the funny part was they didn't frown upon them hooking up. Obviously, at this point they were fine with that, but they did frown upon any kind of like illegal substances going on. And there was a couple of us that would like to get stoned, and we'd go over there and smoke pot with some of the cast members. And I remember one time, this is the first time I ever went to the house, and we're like outside, and we're just passing a pipe around, having a good time. And all of a sudden, and sometimes we will make you a little paranoid. You turn around, and there's a camera right on your face, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is weird. And then all of a sudden, a production assistant comes running out of nowhere and is like, come with us. And they bring us into like this secret room and just rip us a new blank hole, and just like, you can't be doing that here. You you felt like you would like just committed kind of did. He was smoking pot. The time it was illegal. I guess we felt like we committed a crime when we committed a crime, BJ. It's nuts.
Hard to believe that you felt like what you were doing.
They really like buckled down on that. And then you had to find creative places to do it, like go for a walk and leave like the actual, house.
It's surprising that you got private time on that show to be able to do something like that, because I just always think the cameras are everywhere and they just don't show us all the footage.
They were pretty quick though. Like as soon as and that's the one thing I remember, whenever you just have any kind of conversation, you knew within seconds there was going to be a camera, because there was a room in the house that was like the director's booth, and they would like tell the camera guys to go wherever they could go because they had like microphones everywhere. And as soon as you started having like a heart to heart with somebody, boom, cameras on you, and then it was awkward.
Oh yeah. Well, the reason we're talking about this is that there's I don't know what anniversary it is, 1992 when the first Real World happened, and they're getting that whole cast together, and they're doing another Real World old person style. I don't know the exact date, but it's coming up soon on MTV. If you can just search it and find it.
So I can now figure out when it's coming out and what channel MTV is.
Or Paramount Plus. If you have Paramount Plus, it's going to be streaming on that as well. I know that. That's how I found out about it. I was like, oh, hey, look at this.
And it's called Real World Homecoming New York.
There you go.
Dude, I had no idea this was even happening. That just went over. I was not on my radar.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, Steve hasn't talked about this, and I remember you were on the show, so I thought this might mean something. So yeah, check it out, Paramount Plus, MTV, somewhere, sometime, I don't know when.
Yeah,
supposedly soon.
And it sounds like, I don't know if you mentioned this, I might have missed it, but they're going to be in the same New York loft where it all began.
Oh, wow. Oh, really? I think I knew that, but forgot. Thanks for reminding me.
That's why Paramount's involved, because they need some Paramount money to pay for that.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And it's, of course, a show that my wife likes, so something we can watch together. And that's always, you know how that is, Steve, finding a show you both like.
And supposedly the first episode's already out.
It's on YouTube. No! I'm looking at it right now. Series premiere on YouTube.
Well, there you go.
Well, my day is planned.
A series premiere on YouTube? How is that? I don't even know how things work anymore.
I maybe they're just trying to get you on that first one, get you on that first one, then you got to come back and pay for the rest.
That's what it is. Yesterday, Steve, he did get this one right.
Which Scooby-Doo actor is married to Sarah Michelle Gellar?
Oh, he's in the new Punky Brewster. Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yes.
Also used to write for the WWE.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
A lot of trivia about Freddie Prinze Jr. Very, very a lot.
He's also on the new Punky Brewster.
Oh,
you said that.
I said it again, but feel free to say it again.
Oh, just want to make sure people heard me the first time.
I'm glad you're not listening to yourself. That's the important thing. If you want a shot at beating Steve, you got it. 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Migs at 8:47.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. How do I figure out who my creditors are?
People a lot of times have had a long time of not having good credit and having collections, and so they're concerned that you may be concerned that you won't be able to find all your creditors if you file bankruptcy. How will I know which collection agency has my credit card bill from 10 years ago now? And that's something that's hard to keep track of because credit collection agencies transfer your debts all over the place. But we will pull all your credit bureaus, and by getting all three of your credit bureaus, we'll be able to tell who has your credit and debt now, which collection agencies have had it in the past, and we'll make sure that we file all your creditors when we file your bankruptcy so that nothing slips through the cracks.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.